Hey you guys, so today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I am going to experiment with the Makartt Polygel kit today, and this is their temperature changing kit that you can find on Amazon. So what I was excited to see off first impression is the fact that this is the complete kit. It has everything you need aside from the UV LED lamp. Everything you need to complete the look is in this box, you'll notice. So in this kit there are 6 temperature changing colors. It looks like we have a yellow that will transition into white, this pink color, orange, which is what I will be using today, black, and then also this cyan color. I think that's how you say it. And lastly, we have this blue color. Next up, they do include the slip solution so that you're able to ensure that your brush doesn't get too sticky during the process. They included top coat for us as well as base coat. I like that they included directions on how to use their product as well. I'm sure I will find this super helpful during the process, as well as if you are a beginner. Something like this is going to come in handy for you, especially if you have no experience with polygel. There is a file that's included, as well as dual forms, which I have no experience in using, so I'm excited to test it out and see what happens. Lastly, we have this brush. There's a spatula on one side, and then you have your brush to kind of use to form the polygel. So I am going to use my daughter as a model today. We are going to go in and prep her natural nails. She did just remove a set, so I kind of had to file off the little bits that were left on there, but right now I'm just cleaning off her cuticles using a cuticle bit. You'll pretty much just want to carefully go through this process on each finger to ensure there's no cuticle or dead tissue left. What I love about testing stuff out on my daughter is that she is super honest. I've been working on just practicing on her nails since she was 10 years old, and she will just keep it real and let you know. She's going to be like, this is ugly, or this doesn't feel right, or you could have did this better. Or she's going to be like, Mom, I woke up and 3 nails popped off. They were on my bed this morning. She's just going to be honest, no filter. And that's what I love about her. It's also a time for us to bond because she is getting older. She is a teenager. So this is just a great way for us to bond and talk. And it's also a way to teach her how to learn a skill as well, because she is interested in nails. So the fact that I get to do hers and just walk her through the process, or that we try stuff together, it's just really fun. Alright, so next you're going to take your dual forms and size them. I already went through and sized her numbers and found out what her sizes were, or what looked like would fit her nail. For this next step, I'm just going in with a dehydrator right now on each of her nails just to remove any oils. After going through each finger, I'm going to move into adding some primer to her nail. And if you're curious, I'm just using Young Nails Protein Bond for this. I'm not sure if you've ever used Young Nails Protein Bond, but it is definitely my holy grail for primer. I've used it with acrylics on all my clients and have had awesome results and no lifting. So if you're curious if it's worth buying, yes, it definitely is. So please believe the hype when it comes to the Protein Bond. Moving along, we are going to use the base coat that they provided in the kit, and we are going to do a thin coat on her natural nails. One thing I noticed right away was how easy it was to apply this in a thin layer. I have worked with some base coats in the past before that are a bit thick, but this one went on pretty smooth and thin, which was kind of nice. So after I finish up with this last finger, I am going to put it into the lamp for about 60 seconds. And today I am using the Makartt lamp. I've been testing it out. I know I mentioned it in a previous video. So far so good on it, and I love it. So I took my slip solution and I'm getting ready to pour it into the cap. And as mentioned, my daughter picked orange today, so that is the color we are going to work with. If I were to describe or compare the color, it kind of reminds me of like an orange sickle kind of color. All right, so right here, I'm squeezing out an amount from the tube and I'm going to place it in the dual form. Now, just to remind you, this is my first time doing a polygel set, so I have no idea how much is supposed to go in there or what it's supposed to really be like. I'm pretty much going with what I think looks right or how it's supposed to work, and then, you know, seeing how it comes out. I'm pretty much just like patting the product in and smoothing it over a little bit with light strokes. You'll see me dip into the slip solution as I see my brush get sticky throughout the process. I will add that if you do have longer nails like I do, I did find it hard to kind of hold the form as well as pat it in there. Especially, I guess it depends on how long you're going to do the nail, but we ended up trying to go long at first just to see how they come out. I think maybe using something like a tweezer could be helpful to hold the form in place if your nails are super long or you're having trouble holding it. Alright, so once I think it looks like how it's supposed to look and it's pretty smooth, I begin to apply it to her nail. And at first you'll see me kind of press down and some of the stuff seep out of the sides. So I ended up just taking a brush to kind of clean it up. I had no idea how much pressure to use on it, and it felt like at first I applied too much and the product started to slide. So you want to be mindful of that. So after this nail, I ended up placing it in the lamp for 60 seconds. And this is what it looks like. If you can see, the temperature has already been changing on it even before I placed it in the lamp. So right now I'm just wiggling off the dual form from her nail. I did feel like this one looked a little thin to me, but I mean, this is my first experience, so I don't even know. Like, I'm just experimenting right now to see how it works. All right, so let's try this again and see if we can get it a little bit better. If you're curious why I'm experimenting with polygel, it's because most of my experience is with acrylic. But I don't want to limit myself. I know acrylic is very popular and, you know, that's what most of my clients were into, but I didn't want to limit myself and just do acrylic. I've been trying to branch out. So back in November 2019, just a few months ago, I started experimenting with opera. At first I was like, oh, I would never do something like that. But I had one of my nail sisters tell me about it and how much she loved it. So I ended up experimenting with opera and now I love it. And I'm also trying to get into gel, like the hard gels or semi-hard gels as well. And then I want to get into polygel as well, because you never know what kind of clients you'll have, or if maybe they're allergic to acrylic or just anything. And I also experiment with press-ons as well, as you might have seen. So I just want to do a little bit of everything and have knowledge and everything. And I encourage you guys to do the same. I think it's awesome just to test things out or to find, you know, what you like, because not everything is just all acrylic. It doesn't have to be all about acrylic. Also, if you don't like the smell of monomer, this could be an awesome alternative. Or some people complain about, you know, if they're doing their nails at home but they don't have a ventilated space, and there are people in the house that complain about the smell. So I didn't notice an odor with this product, which was good, and just something I would pass along to you guys. I also think this is just an awesome alternative for people because it's offered to everyone to try. It's on Amazon, so anyone has access to it. You don't have to be in school, you don't have to have your license. So if you're just someone who's curious about doing your own nails at home, this is a product that you can have easy access to and not have to worry about, you know, registering to buy the product. And as I mentioned, this is my first time doing a set. I have no experience here, so if you do have some helpful tips on it, please be sure to drop them in the comments or let me know what your first time experience was like, or even if you like polygel. Maybe you tried it but you didn't like it. I'm just curious to know what you like or didn't like about it, or even how long they last. At first I was debating and nervous about filming the experience and sharing it out, just because, you know, that puts me out there to criticism by people, but I wanted to record it to show you guys how beginner friendly it is, and just to document my experience. Like I said, we can just learn together and share tips on it. So, but mostly I wanted to show you just how easy it is for beginners to try to figure out on their own. I know the dual forms do have little line marks in them to show you, like, I guess lengthwise, so they can all be the same. I wasn't paying attention to that. I kind of just wanted to jump in and hurry up and do it and see how they came out. Throughout the process, my daughter and I were pretty fascinated at how this worked. I kept asking her throughout the process if they felt like they were gonna fall off, just because I'm like, no way, this is that easy. You just, you know, put the product on and attach it. But yeah, she said they felt secure, so this was a fun process to test out. And like I said, it was hard to film this video, you know, just putting myself out there into the open to criticism, but I'm excited to film it and share the experience with you. And, you know, not every time, the first time is going to turn out great, but I'm excited because, you know, I can't wait to compare my work in a couple days, weeks, months, or even a year and look back at this and laugh. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have documented your nail journeys and found, you know, old pictures before of your first sets, and it's just fun to look at it and see how much progress you've made. Or sometimes it's just funny to laugh at, because I saw some nails that I did like 2 or 3 years ago that I just thought were so cute and they were terrible. Looking back at it now, I'm like, oh, I would never do something like that. But I can't wait to look back at this set and laugh later on, or just see how much I've grown with it. As they say, you just have to trust the process and keep going. So we are going to keep pressing through this set and see how it comes out. As far as timing for something like this, I didn't time myself, but I do feel like you could get through it pretty quick. I just happened to be, you know, taking my time to try to go through the steps to ensure I was doing it right. As well as I was talking to my daughter the whole time. So we're just chatting, taking our time. But I think you could get through a set pretty quick. Definitely less than an hour. Who knows, maybe even half an hour with it. Or less than that, I don't know. But this is just my first set, so just letting you know though, with timing, I think you could finish this set pretty quick. You know, when I was smoothing in the polygel, I actually found the process pretty relaxing and therapeutic. It kind of reminded me of like painting or doodling as I was just smoothing in the product. It was actually fun to me. And I was glad I had enough time, because you know, with acrylic, you gotta work through it really fast sometimes, especially if you're using a speed powder that dries pretty fast. You have to work quick. So I was just glad I was able to take my time and get it to my liking. That's kind of an advantage, I guess, I would see with using polygel. Alright, so after this last finger, I cured it and took it out the lamp, and I'm getting ready to cut down the length. I was able to cut through these really easily with a tip cutter. So now I'm gonna go in and do some shaping, but I am gonna end up doing that off camera just to kind of speed the video along. I will add that this was super easy to file through. Even my daughter noticed how easy it was. And the dust is kind of like a flour or powdered texture kind of feeling, which is interesting. So now you'll see me go in with this drill bit. It's kind of shaped like a cone a little bit. I'm just going in to clean up the cuticle area. What I loved about using the polygel with the dual forms is that the top of the nail came out super smooth, so I didn't see a need to really go over the surface. I just went, you know, around the cuticle area to give it a more seamless kind of blend. And once again, I'll add that it it files perfectly well. Like with the drill, I didn't have to use a lot of pressure or on a super high speed or anything. It just filed beautifully. So with that being said about polygel being super easy to file through, it's much easier to, I guess, fix the imperfections than acrylic, what I noticed, because when I was working with acrylic in the beginning and I couldn't lay a nail down really smooth, I found myself drilling for like a long time and having to use several different drill bits to like debulk the nail and make it back smooth. But with this, it was just more forgiving. The polygel, the fact that the dual form already made the surface on the top smooth, so just having to go in and clean the cuticle was nice and way less work. So this is the set so far, and I think for a first time this is amazing. Like if someone posted a picture of their first set and this was acrylic, I think people would be like, oh my god, that's your first time. Now yes, there is room for improvement there, and this was a first time experience for me, but for a first timer I was pretty impressed. And once again, that's just kind of why I wanted to film the video, to show you how beginner friendly this is. So right here, I'm just going in to add a couple of little nail charms and crystals here. These hearts, they come in like a pack, like a little tray with different shapes. I purchased them from AliExpress like a year or two ago, but you can encapsulate things like this because they're so thin, and I have encapsulated stuff like this before, but I'm going to use it on the top of her nail. And to bond it, I'm using the Zule's bling adhesive. You do want to go over it with top coat though at the end, because they will fade over time, the gold will. So be sure that if you are applying this on the top of the nail instead of encapsulating, that you do go in with top coat. So if you're curious where I buy my Swarovski crystals, I buy them at a place called, I think it's Fire Mountain Gems. They're located out in Portland, which is very close to Washington, so I tend to get my packages right away. They usually do like same day shipping, next day shipping, so I'll get my product in like 2 or 3 days. I also order from Sky Beads online. I think that's the name of their site, and I love ordering from them. They ship from Texas. They also have fast shipping, and they include a bag of free Swarovskis in with the orders, which I think is super nice. If I am in a rush and I need crystals really fast, I will go to a local Hobby Lobby up here and use one of their 40% off coupons that you can find online on their website. I will acknowledge this isn't my best shaping job, but it's my daughter. She's not a client, so we're just kind of doing what we can to make this video and press through the process. If you're curious, I'm using just a simple wax pencil to pick up the crystals. I used to use a crystal Cantana, I don't know if that's how you say it, or Cantana, but the refills were kind of too expensive to be keeping up with, and I find that this works just the same. You can find these wax pencils on Amazon or something like AliExpress. So for the last step, we're just going in with the top coat that they provided. I didn't do anything to the thumb because no one really sees the thumbs anyways or pays attention, so I didn't care to add any bling to it. What I love is how this temperature changing polygel created the perfect ombre effect. After the top coat, we're going to cure in the lamp for 1 minute, and this is the final finished look. I think it came out awesome for a first time try. Let me know how your experience was. Please be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram at dippedinpretty. And until next time.